So Mundell, thank you very much.
Cheers, Jake.
Appreciate your time. It's good to be
Very
here
welcome.
at the Results Group today.
Very welcome.
Oompher is all about inspiring people to achieve extraordinary things. So who and what during your life and career has inspired you?
Many people, Jake. One of the great things that we sit in our business is we go and seek the planet for thought leaders. So for the last well over a decade, I've been going and hanging out with some of the greatest thought leaders in the world and going and getting involved in their research and their content. And I tell you what, it's unbelievably inspirational when you see true thought leadership. And we bring a lot of these people out to New Zealand as well from time to time. And so it's a hard question for me to answer because I've been privileged to sit with so many of these, significantly great people of the modern era.
And I guess within business, there'd just be so many inspiring people across so many companies. Do you just find everyone has different dimensions and everyone's exciting in their own different ways as well?
Well, would everyone know, but I can take that from taking a look at our clients. We work with thousands of businesses.
Yeah.
And every now and then you see absolute greatness come about. I was down in Christchurch actually last week, and one of our clients down there, Lee's Construction, Anthony Lee's, and he's built this this great company. And the way he's built it and his focus on his people and the values of the business and what they're trying to achieve and making a difference, just fantastic. And you take a look at examples like that, very inspirational.
So what defines that great leadership and
The leader.
greatness then?
The leader.
Okay, and what aspects to the leader do you often see that are the same across all great leaders in business?
Well, one is their understanding of leadership, be it consciously or unconsciously. Some people are just naturally great leaders, other people are learned leaders.
Yeah.
But it's important for people to understand that people don't run businesses, systems do. People run systems. And a great leader will bring in structure and systems into a business, be that just making sure the core values are well alive, making sure everyone's aligned around the purpose of the company, making sure the company has a very clear strategic direction that everyone can contribute to, making sure that people know the piece that they own.
Yeah.
So when someone brings those things to life, be it consciously because they've worked with someone like us, an organisation like ours to do it, or unconsciously because they just inherently get it.
Yeah.
That's where great leadership comes about.
Yeah. So as the founder of the Results Group and co-founder of Results.com, can you just run us across sort of what the businesses do?
Sure. Well, the Results Group, we're a management consulting business. We've been in the New Zealand marketplace for about 20 years. I got involved in the company about 12 or 13 years ago, and then we transformed the way the company operated with the model. And then we grew as a management consulting firm to 13 offices in 3 countries, around about 100 staff. And so we're a pretty significant sized consulting firm.
Yeah.
And as we branched off into North America, and it really changed the way we had to consider the marketplace. The US marketplace is so large, to scale to the same size there that we were here, or even what we were doing in Canada, we would have needed to open 400 offices. So that's where the software got born, results.com, and that's when we went out and purchased the URL results.com, which was a pretty pricey acquisition, $1 million Kiwi at the time. And then results.com started getting ahead of steam in itself, and then that has become its own product, and now the companies have separated. Okay. Results.com is heading touch wood to an IPO, and which is great for a software offering, and supports a lot of what we do in our management consulting, and vice versa, we can support the software client. So they now sit
quite complementary.
Yeah, very complementary, but 2 different businesses.
Yeah, and do you see heaps of opportunity in that in that B2B sort of space for software and consulting?
Very much so.
Is it changing? Is there lots of new opportunities coming about? Or?
I think the opportunities with software is growing consistent always. The software opportunities are always becoming more and more abundant, particularly as everything gets into the cloud. Yeah. And as more goes into the cloud, more things can talk with other things. And I believe we're in a bit of a software revolution. And there'll be winners and losers. Xero is a great example of that.
Vend and those sort of companies.
And results.com as an example can communicate with Xero or can communicate with Salesforce, so that all these tools coming into the cloud can collaborate. So there's a lot of opportunity there. With management consulting, it's always been big opportunities in management consulting. Why is that? Businesses or a business leader may not necessarily have all the structures or the frameworks, be asked all the questions. So for someone to be guiding their attention is always valuable.
Yeah, and Results as a company is always researching, obviously, best practice in business globally and then implementing that into to key tools that people can use in their businesses. So how's business changed in the past 20 years? And how's it likely to change in the next 20 years?
Well, how's it changed? I think business is always changing in the fact that everything's going a lot faster. So strategy is no longer static like it used to be. You could develop a strategy and get your 10-year strategy, and it's probably not going to change a lot. Now, no one's got any idea what it's going to be like in 10 years. Research suggests there'll be more change in the world in the next 20 years than the entire history of civilization. So you can't predict it.
Yeah.
So do you have a structure where you're constantly pulling back and re-looking at strategy, taking the business through the right framework and questions to consider what's in front of you? So strategy is a lot more fluid than it's ever been. At the same time also, we've got other pressures on businesses and people, and also the tools that are becoming available are so abundant. So if businesses aren't keeping up with this speed, then it's very easy to be disrupted as a result.
Yeah, so I guess to prepare for that, people and businesses should be keeping up with the new things and always looking at what's new out there.
Very much so, and it's a big part of what we assist with businesses for sure.
Okay, and having grown Results obviously through New Zealand and into North America as well, what were some of the key challenges launching over in North America? You were saying before, obviously the software was complementary to what you're already doing, but over in the States, is it a different business environment over there?
Not really, actually. This is the second business I've had the pleasure of operating in the US.
Yeah.
And when I say the pleasure, I think the US is a great place to do business. I love it. The Americans, they just want to go and win. Now you go into the US and everyone's like, how can we help you? How can we help you succeed? There's no tall poppy.
Yeah.
Who are you? Who are you ripping off to get successful? People are like, how do we help you? So I think it's a fantastic business environment, and also they are very open to people outside of the US.
Okay.
So it's interesting looking to launch a business in Australia versus the US. I've found it easier going into the US than Australia.
Okay.
But hey, look, in Auckland, if someone's trying to pitch to you and they're from Greymouth, you might give them the same sort of level of credibility as that someone in Sydney gives us in Auckland. I don't know. But in the US, they just don't care. They'll give everyone the same opportunity.
Okay.
It's a fantastic place to do business. Yes, there are other complexities that one needs to be mindful of, but overall, I think it's a pretty easy place to go and do business.
Okay, and they seem to be pretty accepting people from what you're
Very
saying.
accepting.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what would
Yeah.
your key bits of advice be then for business owners, I guess in New Zealand, looking at going global into North America? What would you say to them? Is there some key bits of advice you could pass on?
Well, if you're going to go into any marketplace, there's going to be complexity. There's going to be new challenges as far as structure, tax, operational requirements, etc., employment, The US is pretty easy. A lot of the states have a don't come Monday policy, unlike here where it's very challenging to get rid of employees. There it can be very easy, but they're also far more open to litigation over there as well. So there are differences that you need to be aware of, but overall the US is a very accepting place, so it's pretty easy to go and start up there. But like anything, however long you think it's going to take, double it.
Yeah.
Very much you think it's going to cost, double it, and then probably double it again, and you might be somewhere near it.
Energy 10 times.
Yeah, energy 10 times, that's right. It's going to be a journey.
Yeah.
There's no question.
And what about, obviously a small factor of it, but what about an important name? You were saying before it cost $1 million Kiwi at the time for the domain results.com.
Yes.
Is that pretty important over there when you're competing with some huge players to go in there looking pretty sharp?
I think so. And is that the only strategy? No. It was the one that worked for us. Ben, my ex-business partner, who now heads the software company, when he and I were sitting at his place and we were launched into North America, and we realised that we couldn't necessarily go there just with a generic name like the Results Group for our software offering. And as a bit of a joke, I said, "Oh, well, all right, we'll just buy the .com." Laugh, laugh. Well, we were searching for different names, or should we create one? And then, hello, there it was, results.com was for sale. So anyway, Ben's great negotiation skills, and sometime later, we ended up purchasing that for $500,000 US. It was a 52-cent exchange rate, so it was $1 million Kiwi in round numbers at the time.
Yeah.
But when we launched there and doing stuff in the US, when you introduced yourself as results.com, everyone knew you were serious. Everyone shut up and paid attention.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to create significant brand. But I don't think you could buy a single word .com for $1 million now.
No.
A lot more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I guess while we're on that sort of American question line, what are some of the other key things that you can think of that they do a lot better in the way they go about their business than us in New Zealand? Are they quicker in terms of follow-ups or that kind of thing, or what's some stuff you'd say that they do really smoothly compared to us? But vice versa, what are they perhaps not so good at, and Kiwis are much more slick at?
Good question. I think they are a lot better at getting on with it. Americans are built to win. They go to war to win. They go to work to win. They do everything to win. And whereas New Zealanders are a little bit more lethargic and a little bit more making sure everyone's happy and it's all okay. So American businesses by nature tend to be a lot more focused and rigid to their strategy and moving forward with it. The contrast of that though in New Zealand businesses are more innovative. We're a little more agile. So both have their place.
Yeah.
American companies are better structured and they've got greater focus on really that outcome of winning. The other thing I see in the US versus New Zealand is that if you're in business there, chances are you've got an MBA or you've been to business school, whereas here it's not always the case. So there's a lot more disciplined knowledge in the marketplace as well. Again, that doesn't mean to say that a lot of these great Kiwi entrepreneurs who I love so much, no education, left school, when they were 15 and they're super successful.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying one's right or wrong.
Yeah.
It's just different.
Yeah, just different. Okay. And I guess from having worked with such a huge number of successful businesses all over the world, what are some of the key things you see in common with businesses that are growing rapidly, sustainably, and just doing awesome things? What are the key things they all have in common?
A good strategy that they stay focused on, rather than hopping from thing to thing.
Yeah.
Execution is paramount. As I said before, you can't grow your business, only your people can. And one of the biggest challenges for business leaders is unless they can get their people contributing to the execution of that strategy, it's very hard to move that business forward. So really, how do you push that down? And the other thing that's critical is leadership. Leading yourself, leading others to lead others. So when you can get those key components of strategy, execution and leadership alive in a business, the business really moves forward. And some people are lucky enough that they come out of the start blocks and they naturally get all that. Usually an exception, not the rule. But those are the components that really move it forward.
Okay. And have you seen people with extraordinary businesses all over the world that I guess aren't good leaders at all, but they've been smart enough to employ an excellent leader who does it all?
Absolutely, but then there's a point where that comes about. So I've seen some smaller businesses who are unbelievably successful and unbelievably dysfunctional.
Okay.
But they probably won't get over 30 or 40 employees.
Yeah.
Maybe 30 is So, but to go beyond that now, structure becomes absolutely critical. Most businesses typically start bursting at the seams between sort of 15 to 20 employees. 30 is just manic if there's not structure.
Yeah.
But I know people who have got unbelievably successful businesses making them 7 figures a year with an absolute chaos. But if you want to scale and really grow, now they're an exception. Structure is what grows your business. People don't run businesses, systems do. People run systems. So if you can implement the right structure and systems, it's very easy to move your business forward.
And you say that you can't grow your business, only your people can. So for people wanting to remove themselves more from their business and let their people do the growing, what's your advice for people wanting to just remove themselves a bit more?
Well, make sure that you know and your people know the pieces that they own. And then once everyone knows their piece, make it visible. So that as a business leader, you can sit back and you can easily see, this is really the frustration that got the software product built, was how do you bring that simple visibility to a business so that a business leader can on a single screen go, I know what's going on in my business, I can see what's happening. Or you could flip that and look at the people in the business. Do they really know the piece that they own? Do they know how they contribute to the strategy of the business and moving it forward? And what happens when that comes alive, where you get the visibility of the things that they own, the engagement in a business just skyrockets because people see how they contribute. People can see how they're making a difference to move it forward. People have a sense of ownership in the business. The business owner or the business leader has a sense of confidence because they don't have to be micromanaging everything because all these things are owned.
Yeah.
So while it sounds simple, and it is once it's all alive, it's just a process to get it there.
Okay. And what's next for Results, Simon?
For the Results Group.
Yeah, and results.com for both
Okay, well,
companies.
results.com is heading toward an IPO.
Yeah.
And that's very exciting. The major market for results.com now really is becoming North America. There's a lot of business out of Australia, of course, and New Zealand. For the Results Group is a management consulting business.
Yeah.
It's really sitting at our core. We work with medium to larger size privately held companies, really where they're needing to put the structure in place, and we are literally world class at it. We work with businesses in New Zealand and Australia and in the US and Canada, and it's consistent no matter where you go in the world, and we will continue to dominate this space in what we do and really enjoy it.
Yeah, fantastic. So we've just got a few quick-fire questions to finish. Hypothetically, if you could sort of go back to the start of your business career and give yourself a bit of advice, is there something that sort of sticks out that you think you would pass on to yourself?
Do it sooner.
Okay.
Take the risk sooner.
Okay.
It's interesting as you're going through life, and taking some of those big risks, some of those big financial risks. You know, am I ready? Have I got the knowledge? Have I got the money? What if it doesn't work?
Yeah.
And I've always been entrepreneurial, but the older you get, the more challenging it becomes. You've got family, you've got kids, you've got a lot more staff, you've got all these things that actually slow you down.
Okay.
For young entrepreneurs, take the big risks early.
Yeah. Okay, good advice. And from working with thousands of SMEs all over the world, I mean, what's the biggest mistake that they all seem the most businesses
They don't get out of the way.
They don't get.
The business owner doesn't get out of the way.
Okay.
Micromanagement.
Okay.
Trying to be over everything, and you just can't do it.
Okay. And it's about having a good strategy in place.
It's about having a good structure. That's actually structure.
Structure. Okay.
It's having the right visibility around the right metrics that guide the business, understanding where it's going, but so that the business owner can actually get out of the way. If you can't get out of the way, you'll hit a ceiling of complexity. With it, really, the first one's probably only about 8 to 10 employees, where you'll struggle to ever grow past it.
Okay.
You've got to get the structure in place.
Yeah.
You can't grow your business, only your people can.
Okay. And why is the enemy of execution business as usual? What do you mean by that?
Well, as you get busy in a business, stuff's always going to happen. So look, you might have your vision, and you may have your strategy. Fantastic. Even if you've got your vision and your strategy, you're still ahead of 90% of other businesses that haven't got that level of clarity. But you've got your good vision and strategy, but then reality turns up. You want to move in that direction, but then all of a sudden you might have, say, a product quality issue over here that lights up. So there's a fire that distracts you. So you're trying to put that fire out, and then you're trying to get back on track, and then all of a sudden now you've got some customer complaints entering the business. That's another distraction. So you're trying to deal with those, and you want to move back in that direction, but then now you've got some morale issues in the business. So you're trying to G up the team with morale, and you want to move back in that direction, but now you've got a couple of key staff members who have resigned. Now you've got to replace some key staff members, you want to move back in the direction, now you've got some cash flow issues.
Yeah.
That's business as usual. And any business owner that's listened to that message will go, he's been hanging out in my business.
Yeah.
Because that's how it works.
Yeah.
That's business as usual.
So the business owner really needs to be sort of applying 80-20 rules as such and putting all of their time into the big growth principles.
You need to tip the balance to have a slight bit more focus in the business on the stuff that actually will move the business forward, rather than the day-to-day distractions of business as usual.
Okay.
The enemy of execution is business as usual. And as you disrupt that, your business will spend most of its time always focused on business as usual and will struggle to move forward.
Yeah, no, very true. So I guess Results as a company, both Results.com and the Results Group, very much global. So how do you go about getting these global customers in the States? How do you grow that global network and find customers, not just in New Zealand, but overseas as well?
Look, that will be a different answer for anybody that's trying to launch in North America. We've had a two-prong approach to it. I've had the great fortune of speaking globally for the Entrepreneurs Organisation.
Yeah.
I also rolled out at MIT in Boston. I've also done a lot of presentations globally for Vistage and Tech. And those networks have taken me around doing presentations all over North America. So a lot of it's come out of that.
Okay.
Also, we, in the software, we did a lot of online marketing, mainly used the likes of LinkedIn. And that created a lot of noise in the marketplace for us too. So those are mechanisms that work for us. It doesn't mean to say they'll work for every business.
Yeah, and just talking about that speaking, I mean, Entrepreneurs Organisation, MIT in Boston, you've consistently been ranked as one of the best speakers ever that they've had. I mean, what's one of the key things you say that surprises everyone and makes a bit of a wave of what people are expecting you to say?
Yeah, look, I think I've probably said a couple of clangers already.
Yeah.
Jake, that the whole realisation for people that you can't grow your business, only your people can. And when people really get that,
Yeah.
and in the examples and the research that I bring to life, when people really get it, you can see the penny drop. And it's quite a revelation for some people. And also understanding that people don't run businesses, systems do. And those two things interlock. And when you can get the right structure alive so you can get out of the way and have your people growing your business, it's a revelation.
It must be quite rewarding to be able to teach these practices.
Unbelievably rewarding.
Yeah.
Not just in what we teach, but also in what our organisation does. You know, one of our key consultants was in here just before our meeting, talking about a great win that he's had with one of our clients, where the structure's now really starting to come alive. And it's interesting. You can just see the lights turn on with this business. Everything changes. Culture, their engagement, their revenue. You know, it's great. When it comes to life, it's a revelation.
Yeah, absolutely. So Simon, what would the 16-year-old boy you were think of who you've become today? Would he be proud of what you've built here?
I think he'd be pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And also, I guess living our core purpose, which is also my core purpose, and it has been all my life, and that's to make a difference.
Yeah.
And I think that 16-year-old boy would be very happy at how much we make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's definitely happening. It's bloody awesome. So to finish, Simon, can you look down this camera here and tell us, what are your wise words for the people of New Zealand?
Wise words for the people of New Zealand are, we live in this fantastic and unique place. It's a global economy now, and we can be unbelievably competitive in it. So the world's changed. You're now operating in a global village. Your opportunities are larger than they've ever been. Go out there and seize them. Absolutely seize them. We're innovative. We work hard. And in an environment now where everyone is just a mouse click away, go out there and get into the marketplace. It's just absolutely abundantly fantastic, with more opportunity than you could possibly poke a stick at. So enjoy it.
Cool. Simon Mundell, thanks so much.
Thanks, Jake.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.